There are 6 questions that you must be able to answer if you ever plan to build wealth. When you look at anybody throughout the history of this world that have ever built wealth, or currently people that are building wealth right now, they have answered these 6 questions in some way, shape, or form. And I want to share them with you to see if building wealth for you could become a reality, or will it always be a wish? And the thing that I want to encourage you to do is make sure that you're not neglecting the simplicity of these questions, because the thing about this, everything in life that exists, it resulted from a question that somebody asked. When you think about, the airplane right now, somebody asked a question: how can we, go from here to there faster? And so everything started with a question. So I want to just reiterate that and just help you to understand the importance of answering these questions, because I really think that it's important for you to truly be able to answer each of these questions so wealth will not just be a wish but a reality for you. Now, the first question, and it's very simple, but it can be very difficult to answer, if you will, is: what can you learn from your current financial situation to improve it? The only way that you can ever get from where you are to where you want to be is to measure where you currently are and understand what it takes to get from where you are to where you want to be. So truly understanding what can you learn from your current financial situation to improve it is one of the key places for every single person to start with, because sometimes people start at the wrong place. They get great information going forward, but they can't build because they have no foundation whatsoever. Now, the second question is: what's great about this awareness? And one thing that is really important to note is that a lot of times we can help other people by overcoming the various things that they haven't gotten to yet, that we've already got to and mastered in our own lives. But also, when we have certain awarenesses, it's like now we can move forward faster, more aggressive, with a lot more intelligence. Because sometimes when we are in situation and we don't have certain awareness, we don't even know what to do. So it's like, if you don't understand that it's these 3 elements, or these 3 steps, or some other form of a process, if you don't even understand that exists, there's no way for you to move past where you currently are, because you don't have the awareness to do so. I mean, you think about, cell phones, for instance. Like, mainly I want to say this, most people on this earth, no matter where you live in this world, they have a cell phone. But you think about, before cell phones ever existed, we did not have the awareness to be able to communicate with people from all across the world for free. Like, we didn't have the awareness of like a WhatsApp or some other kind of app where we can actually call people and communicate with them, because that awareness just was not there yet. So when it comes to awareness, like now, when you have certain awareness, you can actually grow from it. So now that we have, again, these different apps, WhatsApp and things like that, now we have the awareness that they even exist. Now we understand, how can we leverage them? How can we maximize them? It's some people that, believe it or not, they actually have 6- and 7-figure coaching programs where they only use WhatsApp to communicate with people internationally. That was not something that people actually used before, because they didn't have the awareness. So awareness can be a phenomenal thing that you can use to truly help you to build upon wherever that awareness is. Because sometimes, when it comes to like improving life and making more money and being happier and having more joy and things like that, there are certain processes that we start and we build from there. Because some things that are great for somebody else, they might not be the best thing for you. They might not provide the best experience for you. So when you understand that somebody else's experience, was what it was because of this certain awareness, it's like now you could use just the baseline to make it fit into what's convenient and what's going to be most beneficial for you. Now, the third question, which is really, really important, is: what am I willing to do to make my financial situation the way that I want it to be? When you truly understand, number one, what you're willing to do, then that now opens up your mind of possibilities of what you can do to truly get from where you are to where you want to be. And understand this: unless it's illegal, like, there's no wrong steps, there's no wrong processes, there's no wrong ways, if you will. And so a path that you might take might be totally different from somebody else's. And this is where I would highly encourage you to not look outside of yourself for guidance. It's important for you to understand that guidance is within you. The answer is within you. The path is within you, because you were created, designed, and destined for a purpose that maybe you just don't have the awareness of just yet, but it's still there. However, when you look outside of you, you start to follow other people's path and you don't get their results, and then you end up frustrating. How do I know that? Because I've been there several times before. So it's really important for you to understand what are you willing to do? So the question is, what am I willing to do to improve my financial situation and make it what I want it to be? That is extremely important because it also helps you to understand what your values are. Because one of the worst things that people can do is to make money and violate their values in the process, because it always leads to self-sabotage, and it always causes the person to feel horrible about what they're doing. Now, if you've heard me for any short period of time, you understand that I typically do not use universals like always and never and things like that, because typically they are not true. However, in this situation, when people violate their values to make money or do anything else, it typically leaves them feeling regretful or unsuccessful, or some kind of internal issues that they have, because they're actually going against themselves. So answering this question is really, really important, and it's really critical because, again, it opens up possibilities that you can actually do in order to build wealth for yourself. Because the one thing that I want to go back to is the definition of wealth. So if you watch any of my previous videos, you understand that my definition of wealth does not just consist of money. Money is one element, but it's not just consisting of money, because if you just focus on money to build wealth, you'll be broke your whole life. And again, if you watch my other videos, you'll understand exactly what I mean, but I don't want to go in too much detail in this video because I want to keep it, very structured. But this question is really, really important. Now, the fourth question is, what am I willing to not do in order to make my situation the way that I want it to be? Now, when you hear that question, it might take you to slow down and really process and think it, because, you're thinking like, man, why did he word it that way? And I worded that way for a specific reason, because when you word it any other way, then it caused you to get a totally different answer, believe it or not. So when you think about what am I willing to not do, one thing that it does is it causes you to give yourself permission to stop doing things that you feel like you have to do. That could be a whole number of things. It can be supporting certain friends. It could be supporting certain family members. It could be dealing with certain groups of people that you feel like you have to deal with, and you really don't. And so this question gives you the ability to give yourself permission to stop doing things that goes against where you really want to be in life as it relates to wealth. And when you give yourself permission, it allows you to start to give yourself permission in other areas, because a lot of times we do things and we feel like we don't have a choice. And then, like, if we do it for a person, we tend to secretly resent them because we did something that we feel like we had to do, and it was them that made us do it. And the reality is that is not true. Nobody can make you do anything unless you are a victim, unless they overpower you and force you to do it, and there was nothing else that you can do. That's not most people. And so this question gives you the ability to give yourself permission to stop doing things that maybe you've been doing for a long time, or people have expected you to do, and you've done them, even though it's not what's best for you and your financial situation long term, or even your overall, mental health, if you will. And I'm not saying, from a deep, dark perspective. I'm just saying just like no stress at all. Because I don't know about you, but the reality is this: there are certain people that even when you see their name come up on your cell phone, it does something to your energy. It does something to your spirit. It does something to your attitude. And it's like, man, like, I really don't want to talk to this person. Or vice versa. It's like you see them and it's like, man, I can't wait to talk to this person. But either way, when you answer this question, it gives you the ability to give yourself permission to stop doing a lot of things that goes against the very thing that you actually want. That could be something as simple as not taking somebody's call. It could be something as simple as, if you have a job, once you get off work, instead of going home, you go somewhere else, like something that's going to benefit you. But in essence, it's just giving yourself permission to do the things that's really going to move you forward and get you to where you want to be. Because the reality is this: a lot of times we have been conditioned, trained, and even programmed that we're selfish when we think about what's best for us. Now, I'm not saying something that's just going to benefit you in the moment. I'm saying something that's going to benefit you long term. When you focus on something that's going to benefit you long term, it typically is a byproduct in a way to actually have a positive impact on other people around you, and other people are going to benefit as well, especially those people that are closest to you. And if you've ever, flew on a plane before, one of the famous things that they say, no matter where you fly in the world, internationally, if they use different languages, is they all say the same thing: secure your own mask first before assisting others. And sometimes, we're programmed and conditioned to assist others without securing our own mask first. And there are some people who want us to help them now, not realizing that if they just leave us alone and let us become the best version of us, that we can come back a lot stronger and serve them at a greater capacity if they allow us to do so. But sometimes they don't even know that that's needed because we don't communicate to them that that's what's best for us. And so it's really not their fault. Sometimes it's ours. But this is something that really gives you the permission to truly secure your own mastery for assisting others, be the best version that you can be for yourself, but also gives you the ability to take time for yourself and focus on what's best for you, not just now, but long term. Now, the fifth question is, what can I do daily to be the person who naturally experiences the kind of wealth that I desire? Because the thing that we don't realize is it's not about, once I have this, then I'll do this, then I'll be this. It's more so once I become this, then I'll have this, and then I'll do this. So it's the total opposite. And we don't realize that a lot of times we are not where we want to be from a wealth perspective because we haven't become the person that naturally attracts it or naturally experiences. So the question is, what can you do daily right now to become the person that naturally experiences the kind of wealth that you desire? Because when you become the person, wealth naturally is just a part of that person's experience or that person's daily routine, or that person's life. But really thinking through and just really asking yourself the question, like, who do you need to become? Or what version of you do you need to become? Because like really it's not you becoming somebody different. It's just you showing up and being the best version of you that you can be to naturally attract and be that kind of person who experiences the kind of wealth that you desire. And I can tell you from personal experience, like I struggled financially primarily my whole life, if I'm being honest. And it wasn't until I became the person who showed up as somebody, who is expecting to make, and I'll tell you one of my experiences, and I'm not, again, it just is what it is, showed up as somebody who expected to make six figures in a day. And making six figures, is common. It's not something I get just really excited about because I expect it. I didn't have that experience until I became that person who felt like this is something that I am supposed to experience. Not something that I'm just supposed to be overly joyed and excited about. This is something that I'm supposed to experience because that's who I am. It wasn't until I became that person that I started to have those experiences. And the same holds true for every single person. Some people just showed up quicker than others and they experienced it a lot faster, but everybody's experience in that regard is the exact same. They have to become the person who naturally experiences or attracts the kind of wealth that they have. Now, here's how you know when somebody has not become the person. People acquire like lump sums of money all the time, but because they have not become the person who naturally experiences that, they lose it very quickly. If you think about people that win the lottery, 75% of people that win the lottery 5 years later are in worse situations than they were before they won the money. Now, that's not by accident because these people don't know each other. And the same process for them, me, and you is the same process for everybody else. They have not become the person. So because they have not become the person, what they have, they're going to lose it because in their mind, this is not congruent with who I am. My identity says that I'm more comfortable being broke than being rich. My identity says that, I have to find some kind of way to unconsciously get rid of this money because I'm not good with money. You think about how many people language their words by saying, I'm not good with money. And if you're not good with money, there's only a matter of time because you're going to reflect it because that is the part of your identity that you identify with, and that is the person that you are, somebody who's not good with money. So if you're not good with money, you're not going to have a lot of it, period. And your financial situation is always going to reflect that of somebody who's not good with money. So again, that's a very powerful question. This number 5 is like, what can you do daily in order to be the person to naturally, and that naturally is really important. Like that word is really important because when you naturally become that person, you naturally have that experience. And what that means is you don't have to struggle and press and grind so hard. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to work hard to get to where you want to be, but what I'm saying is things come to you naturally when you become that person who desires to have the kind of wealth that you have, or desires any aspect or part of your life. Because it's not just about money, as I said before, in terms of my definition of wealth. It's about the holistic approach, the people that you're around, the time freedom, In essence, it's all about be, do, have, not have, do, be. So that question gives you that ability to truly get in touch with yourself, to really think about like who do you need to come? Who do you need to become in order to truly naturally attract the kind of wealth that you desire? And when you really get down to answering that question and you start to do what it is that like a person who has that identity naturally does, you're going to naturally attract the kind of wealth that that person naturally attracts in terms of what you specifically desire. So I really encourage you to truly go back, answer all of these questions, but that fifth one, that is really critical, because that is going to truly move the needle in a way that maybe nothing else will, because it's all attached to your identity. Because so many people are where they are because everything around them is congruent and reflective of their identity. You know, like we don't do anything that is incongruent with our identity, no matter what it is, whether it's relationships, whether it's money, whether it's career, like no matter what it is, our standards is a reflection of our identity. And it's not, our standards is not something that we communicate verbally. Our standards is something that when we look around us, that communicates our standard. And so when you truly become the person who naturally, you know, is the kind of person who naturally attracts this kind of wealth, like that's going to be your experience, and it's going to be a phenomenal experience, because now it's going to up level you in so many other areas of your life and allow you to experience better quality of so many things that maybe you never even thought could even get any better, because of the person that you were being at that time when you were operating at a lower level. And when I say that, I don't mean it in any kind of disrespectful way whatsoever. Like, a lot of us, including myself, we don't always operate to our most optimal level. So the awareness, kind of going back to one of the second questions, like the awareness of what's even possible just opens up more things for us and gives us the ability to access things that we didn't even know was possible. And here's the sixth and final question. What are you willing to do right now to implement this habit in your life right now? So here's the reality of life. We don't determine our future. We determine our habits, and our habits determine our futures. When you think about where you are right now in your life, you could be somewhere phenomenal. It doesn't have to be negative, or it doesn't have to be like financially where you don't want to be. Either way, where you are right now is a result of the consistent habits in your life, the consistent choices and decisions that you've made in your life. And so when you think about this question in terms of what are you willing to do right now to implement these habits in your life, that's very critical, because that might cause you to shift what you're currently doing and replace these other habits with better habits. Because here's the reality. If you don't remove the habits that you currently have and replace those habits with better habits, you're going to go back to the old habits by default. Because when it comes to habits, it's never a time where if something was occupying a space, that it can be empty. Habits, the space of habit can never be empty. You have to always replace it with something, because if you just take out a habit and you don't replace it with something else, that old habit is going to eventually creep in. So it's important to truly ask yourself the question and come up with an answer in terms of like, what are you willing to do right now in order to implement these habits in your life? And think about like, what habits can you implement immediately to replace the old habits? And when you think about the old habits, it got you what you currently have. And maybe what you currently have is great and you're excited and you love it. And if that's the case, keep doing what you're doing. However, if that's not you and you're not satisfied with where you are, then it's very important for you to understand like what the habits are that you currently have. But more importantly, what can you do right now to exchange those habits? Like, what new habits can you introduce to truly change those habits in order for you to truly get to and be what you desire to be, to naturally experience and attract the kind of wealth that you desire? And it's like, once you truly sit down and answer these 6 questions, it will put you on a path to the reality of you building wealth, or the reality that you always wish for wealth, but you'll never experience it, you'll never have it, and you'll always see other people experiencing it. I don't want that for you. And I'm sure you don't want that for yourself. And it does not have to be your reality, especially if you change your habits. Because here's the thing, no matter what your financial situation is right now, it could be horrible. You can have a 319 credit score. It does not matter. But it's all about, what are you willing to do from this point on to truly change the current habits currently in your life to the habits that you truly desire to, to have in order to be the kind of person who naturally attracts the kind of wealth that you desire. But once you answer these 6 questions, they will truly give you a reality of where you stand as it relates to wealth. And if you go back and you truly implement all of the things that we talked about in this video, because it's not just about answering the question, it's about implementing the questions, and it's about implementing the answers more importantly. And when you do that, your life is going to change in a way that sometimes it can be unrecognizable. That could be scary for some, but it could be so rewarding on the other end. Because I tell you this, there are so many people that fear the unknown, but sometimes on the other side of the unknown is heaven. And so many people are willing to stay stuck and explore known hells than to explore unknown heavens. And the unknown heaven is waiting for you. And it's on the other side of these 6 questions that can truly give you a life that only you desire, that you deserve, and nobody else can fill it except you. Now, if you like this video and you've gotten any value from it, first off, I want to ask you to subscribe. And if there's something in this list that I gave you that either you don't agree with, you do agree with, or you think that something else that could have been there, I want to ask you to comment below and list it. But I also, and this is one of the most important things that I'm going to ask you to do outside of subscribing, I want you to comment below and let everybody know what it is that you're going to do right now in order for this to be a reality for you. Because I truly believe that sometimes we need public accountability. And sometimes it's not so much somebody calling you or texting you or following up or checking on you. Sometimes it's just us declaring to the world what we said we were going to do. And when we declare it to the world, there is a positive peer pressure that we feel, even though nobody else is pressuring us. It's us pressuring us, and it's our best version of us pressuring us, which is a great thing. So I want to ask you to comment below, what's the one thing that you're going to do to implement these things in your life right now in order to get to where you desire to be from a wealth perspective?